Interestingly enough, the oldest iron mining site on the planet is in southern Africa, in a modern country with places
Swahili.
south of the Sahara.
Let's go.
Our school system can touch on classical African civilizations in ancient times. A lot of effort is spent on other ancient civilizations while completely ignored
Ancient mama.
and that's very unfortunate.
Nigga.
At the very least, our ancient Ghana, Meroe, and Aksum. Even before ancient Ghana came on
Keep that mask on, Holmes.
I
got the power. We the new wave, you bitch you.
AD. The Soninka Empire of Ghana was reported by Muslim writers to have twin cities and a fortified palace for the ruler. The trade empire Ghana controlled produced wealth that convinced these writers that this empire was the wealthiest in the world.
Grandma gave it
East
that
Africa,
shame.
the antiquity of Kushite civilization predates capital at Meroe. Meroe was founded around 500 BC and became one of the leading cities territories.
Meroe.
African queens who reportedly participated in battle, and unlike many other African civilizations in its time, it had its own writing system called Meroitic. Unfortunately, this African script has not been fully deciphered and thus contributes to the lack of attention it gets. The ancient civilization of Aksum in East Africa also developed around the same time in 500 BC. Aksum was known for its vast trade networks and architecture amongst many other things. Aksum was a powerful state that was considered to be on par with other world powers of its day. At the height of its power, rulers dominated an area extending from present-day Sudan to Somalia. At one point, Aksumite power even stretched across the Red Sea to the Arabian Peninsula. At number 4, our school system should touch on classical oral literature of Africa. Africa has so much to offer when it comes to oral literature, and the stories of Gasser's lute and the epic of Sunjata Keita is a great place to start. Gasser was a Soninka prince who was running from his destiny, seeking glory on the battlefield. But running from his true purpose brought much turmoil to himself, his people, and his family. Once he accepted his purpose of becoming a griot, or oral historian, he attained the very thing he wanted all along, for his name to never die. And it seemed to work because we're talking about him today. Sunjata's story is just as epic as he became the founder of the greatest empire in West African history, the Mali Empire. Coming in at number 5, our school systems have to mention the great art amongst the Yoruba peoples at Ele-Ife. Ele-Ife can be considered the cradle of civilization for the Yoruba people, and it's no wonder that such fantastic art has come from this area. Ele-Ife is world-renowned for its bronze, stone, and terracotta artworks. This art was at its height around the 13th century. Ife artists developed an early expertise in bronze and terracotta works, as well as in wood and stone carving.
Terracotta army in China?
The art of the Yoruba people single-handedly
Everybody stole us. We the Nubians.
To acknowledge African ingenuity.
Everybody stole from us.
As some
Egyptians, everybody.
The development of such works to ancient European.
But never take from what we were.
The genius
like Uncle Flip said.
And beauty of Yoruba sculptures can do a similar work for the impressionable minds of our youth. For number 6, one thing that must be considered is the brief history of African seafaring. Columbus Day, though controversial, is a staple holiday in American society, but it would be interesting to include another narrative that draws attention to the spirit of exploration amongst Africans.
Yes.
The idea of discovery or adventure is usually reserved for Europe, but it won't hurt to diversify that model. Mansa Musa tells us that the previous ruler before him sailed the Atlantic Ocean to explore the limits of the ocean. This history was recorded in Egypt while Mansa Musa was on his Hajj to Mecca. We can't say with any certainty the result of the mission for this African explorer, but what's of interest to us in the Western world is that this journey reportedly happened a whole century before the journey of Columbus himself. At number 7, school systems have a tendency to popularize certain events in history, which is important for the holistic edification of our youth. Even though they may not focus on the topic at hand, references are constantly made. Rome's interaction with the world through conquest or invasion is a popular topic, the adventure of being a person of interest. However, we never tend to highlight the African queen further south in Kush, who not only engaged the Romans, but acquired everything she desired in the treaty. Around 27 BC, Queen Amanirenas had a brief military skirmish in which she invaded Roman Egypt. The head of a statue in the form of Augustus was taken off by her in contempt of this bitter encounter. Rome sought to counter the Kushite queen, but finding difficulty navigating Nubian terrain, the Romans were stymied and did not engage further. Thus, a final battle never actually occurred in which Amanirenas may have been expecting and prepared for. She kept record of everything in Meroitic script, but like mentioned before, we can't fully decipher it. There has been no other monarch in Africa that took on such a great threat in the ancient world, going on to successfully safeguard the integrity of their borders, like Queen Amanirenas of Kush. At number
Kush
8,
Cat.
we have to speak about the significance